We begin our journey into the Cambrian, a time when life was still finding its footing in the shallow, sunlit seas.
In the ancient sediments, this era records a great evolutionary explosion, where life suddenly
In the vast primordial ocean, tiny organisms hover like freshly born ideas.
Paleontologists call this the Cambrian explosion, an unprecedented turning point.
Evolution is not a ladder, but a tree, branching and rebranching across the vastness of geologic time.
At the bottom of the sea, every grain of sand contains traces of a new world emerging.
Primitive arthropoda species crawl slowly on the mud, leaving small grooves, the first evidence of intentional movement.
These are the ancestors of nearly all life today, showcasing the very first spines, arms.
Nowadays, when we excavate the sedimentary layers at Burgess Shale or Chengjiang, each fossil is a
From those fragile embryos, all lineages, from crustaceans, fish, to human.
When the morning light of the Cambrian period flooded the primordial ocean, Earth witnessed an era, life.
In just a few tens of millions of years,
The first creatures donned mineralized exoskeletons, building a defensive wall against increasingly sophisticated predators. The intelligence of nature. At that time, there was no concept of will, but within each strand of DNA is a desperate race between armor and fangs. Species like Trilobita, the three-lobed creatures, but roamed the ocean floor, their calcium shells serving as shield.
In the deeper waters, Anomalocaris, the weird shrimp, dominated like a primitive tyrant.
With sophisticated compound eyes, two arms with curved hooks, and a mouth shaped like a serrated edge.
Each bite of Anomalocaris is a statement of the survival principle. Those who adapt faster will dominate.
hunters never dominate for long. When the boundaries of survival tighten,
Wiwaxia covered in spines, Hallucigenia with rows of spines along its back.
Here, evolutionary pressure not only shapes forms, but also creates behaviors. Pouncing, fleeing,
Evolving eye structures, differentiated muscles, and even the first signs of a complex nervous system hint at the future of perception. This is a time when evolution is no longer just about reproduction, but about the deliberate selection of form and reflexes. During this glorious period, the Cambrian Sea was no longer calm. It was a primordial arena where life was bound up in conflict.
the slow to adapt will become fossils. The agile will write a new chapter in Earth's genetics.
It was during that period of that evolutionary peak that life first understood. As ocean currents changed and the climate grew colder, the glorious Cambrian Sea began to fade away.
The sudden cooling of the planet turned the oceans into giant ice slabs. Thousands of species, once dominant in the light, are now fossilized and silent under cold sediments.
Under pressure of millions of years, the sediments petrified, recording the tragedy of a lost era.
But from the ashes and ice, life did not succumb. It adapted and rose once again.
The Silurian marked a rebirth, when the first corals rebuilt the ocean's strongholds.
The first vertebrates, the ancestors of fish, ushered in a new era of locomotion.
From primitive muscle fibers, movement becomes rhythm, the body's first intentional music.
A temporary balance is restored, but the history of life never stops at peace.
The Earth is transformed again. Volcanoes erupt, oceans boil, ushering in a new era of power and destruction.
Poisonous gas and dust cover the sky, or life is once again tested to its limits.
On each layer of rock,
From collapse, the world learns to be reborn. The cycle of destruction. From the deep sea, life steps ashore. The conquest of the continent begins. The first forests covered the planet, turning the atmosphere into a place to nurture life.
But time fossilizes everything, from soft wood to hard rock.
hundreds of millions of years later, human hands touch the memories of the lost ocean.
We look at ourselves in fossils, find our own ancestors in the rocks.
Continents drift, oceans expand. The planet never stops regenerating itself.
From the ruins of antiquity, nature always returns, atas, stronger, more complex. But every rebirth leaves a memory, etched in stone, waiting to be told.
The cliffs today are libraries of time that fled, where each page is an era.
In human hands, the past comes back to life, not to be possessed, but to be understood.
Every fossil cell contains a story of life and death.
All over the Earth, the past is revealed, reminding us that life is a constant flow.
In the eyes of children, ancient heritage is rekindled, Fjord, an extension of memory. As time passes, the remnants of life still whisper their story.
Because in this vast universe, Earth is just a memory, but a memory that tells a story.